Well, I don't know about you guys, but I thought that was a very satisfying finale to Game of Thrones. Man, I love the ending. I love everything they did. Okay, fine. It sucks. Okay, I just wish it was really good. It had so much potential. What is up, everyone? What is going on? My name is Matthew Lang. I'm the football boss, and I have now finished Game of Thrones, and I know everything about the show now. I know the good, I know the awful, and I now know about the bad. So let's get on into it, though. This will be a spoiler review for season 8. Actually, it might be a spoiler review for all the previous 7 seasons, though, but go ahead, spoil everything. I don't care because I've seen everything now. And for probably those of you watching this, am I going to do a House of the Dragon review? Probably not. I'll kind of give my thoughts about Game of Thrones as a whole right now, but as of right now, I'm not thinking of doing another one. I do have a couple other videos coming out on this channel, and then I'm going to be switching things up a little bit, and then yeah, hopefully one day we'll be good. So, what did I think about this final season? And before I give you my thoughts, though, I want to kind of say what I've kind of like my journey through this season. For the longest time, I have heard, like, before I even watched the show, I had heard the finale wasn't very good. A lot of people were upset by it, though. It just wasn't very good. I also saw it was 6 episodes. If you saw my Marvel ranking, I said the 6 episodes I don't think works. I think they got to change it up a little bit. And as I started watching the show, started to understand what the vibe was, started to understand everything that was going on, like how this world was treated. And then after the Red Wedding, I was like, oh, I have a pretty bad theory. They're gonna kill everybody and say, hey, bad guys rule the throne. And honestly, that probably would have been better than what they did. And and so yeah, and so I just started and so my mind just started to wander after a while, like after season 5, because I knew they ran out of book material, and I was like, okay, I'm like, how do you end something like this? You have a knack for having a dark twist of an ending to sum up to all the good characters. How do you pull off a Game of Thrones ending but also make it satisfying at the same time? And I was really hoping that this season finale was going to be like, okay, it's an interesting idea, but it's not the best idea. Where I would have been like, okay, I kind of see where you're going with this, but I don't like it. But to me, this felt like it was just a massive middle finger to all the fans, because it really just didn't even seem like they cared anymore. It felt like they were going like, hey, what's something that's going to make the fans really mad? Let's have Daenerys go mad for no reason at all. Let's put Bran the Broken on the throne. Well, or really I don't know. It's not really the throne anymore because of, yeah. So, yeah, I did not like this season. Easily the most disappointing finale I've ever seen. And I just everything about this. Okay, a good majority of this season just felt ridiculous. Where there were some things that were so devoid of logic because of things that they were setting up earlier, though there were disappointments. So I mean, it's also rushed, but I also felt like there were episodes that were stretched out way too long. So for example, like the second episode, I kind of got the idea that, okay, I'm like, the dead aren't gonna come, and I was like, okay, and like I kept checking the time on it, and I'm like, there's still like 30 minutes left. I'm like, where else are we going? I mean, I'm like, everyone's here. It's not like, okay, here we go, we can go to like all the other locations around. There was one area for like almost an hour. Final episode, all the villains are dead except for one in particular, and the new villain dies like 30 minutes in. There's still like 40 minutes left, and I'm like, what are so yeah. I mean, the way they structured it, the way they did it, some of the ideas they came up with, they're just not good. So, just as I said, just did not like this season at all. But let's go through it. And this honestly to me would be easier if I go episode by episode, because since all these storylines have kind of converged now, there's really only like 2 locations, maybe 3 though. And so you go to the first episode, and honestly, the first episode to me was easily oh, my Wi-Fi just went out. I mean, it doesn't matter. I'm just like, okay, there it is. Okay, it just came back. So you have the first episode, and honestly, this is probably one of the best episode. Actually, no, not one of the best. Easily the best episode of the season. It was kind of like a reunions all around. There are definitely some like cool character meetings, cool character interactions. Of course, because of some of the history some of these characters have had, you get more of that. You get Arya and the Hound. You have Arya and Gendry. It's mostly just Arya and everyone else. Arya and Jon. That was a great meeting, and Bran and Jaime at the end of the episode. I mean, but just as I said, this basically every episode I was frustrated with Cersei banging Euron. Ugh. Yeah, that was like, really, dude, really. Ugh. And and also Yara. I don't know what she's doing on a boat all of a sudden, but Theon rescuing her. Theon's redemption arc I thought was good. That one of the few good things of this season. Of course, you got Sam meeting Dany. Although, if you remember, Dany murdered his family, and she basically openly admits it, and apparently doesn't feel very sorry about it. So that was like, okay, that's not how I would have done that, but okay. But and then of course you have Jon Snow being Aegon Targaryen. We're gonna get into that later. He gets to fly a dragon since they're both Targaryens. That's kind of like, oh, cool. I was thinking it was kind of like Aladdin. I can show you the world, but like I can show you Westeros. And of course they keep kissing each other, and it's like, man, someone's got to tell you guys. And also they keep kissing each other after they know that they're related. So I'm like, okay, whatever. And so yeah, that's the first episode. For a premiere episode, I don't think it was that bad. It's definitely nowhere near the best episode of the show, but after watching the first episode, I was like, oh, okay. I'm like, maybe I'm gonna go, okay, it's an interesting idea, but not a bad idea. And then the last 5 episodes happened. You have episode 2, and this is the slowest episode ever. Like, I was bored. I was bored watching it. And this is kind of and this is kind of time where I'm like, it's so rushed, but it also slowly takes its time to go through some episodes. And this is one of those very slow episodes, and it's really trying to kind of like foreshadow people's deaths, and be like, oh, your beloved characters are gonna die. Kind of have like the one final meeting, and while Brienne does get knighted, now she is Sir Brienne of Tarth. That was a nice moment, though. I mean, of course, since her and Jaime have a respect for one another, the fact that the fact that he's like, hey, I can knight you, and she's like, oh, really? He's like, yeah, kneel. So. And she's not a character. I'm kind of glad she didn't die. I mean, after she got knighted, I'm like, is she gonna die? Are they gonna kill her right after she gets knighted? But no, she lives. She ends up living through the whole thing. And you also have a very uncomfortable scene where Arya bangs Gendry. So yeah, so yeah, you get to see Maisie Williams' butt and boobs. So that's lovely. And and it's like for a and I know there's a lot of nudity in this show, but this was like, really, like we've seen her grow up, we've seen her as a kid, and now in the final season you're like, okay, now she's taking her clothes off. Like, It's like, ugh. Now, if you want to have if you want to have them kiss, I'm like, okay, fine. And luckily Maisie Williams is 22 years old. Her character's 18, so it's like, oh yay, that's nice. But I mean, but then again, I'm sure after all the hardships her character's gone through, I'm sure her character is like, okay, whatever. I've done worse. I've seen worse, which is true, but that doesn't make it any more comfortable. I feel like they should have done like something what they did in Harry Potter, where I mean Hermione and Ron kiss. But I mean, well, it's like, well, you got to see him grow up. It was basically just like one kiss, and they're like, okay, there we go, that we're done. This was like, no, they full on banged each other. So I'm like, oh, that's a little uncomfortable. A little uncomfortable. So yeah, that was not the best. And then of course you have Jenny of Old Stones, the song Podrick sings. Kind of reminded me of Edge of Night a little bit. Ooh, maybe I'll make this review very short. Well, then again, so did the season, so I guess I should too. Now you go into episode 3. Hang on. I'm dealing with something else here. No! Move back. There we go. Okay. Sorry, I was dealing with something else over there. You have episode 3. This is the battle I've been waiting for quite a while, and I was still excited going into it. I was starting to get the idea where I'm like, okay, I'm like, the dead are gonna come. I mean, once we were about halfway through episode 2, I'm like, okay, the dead are coming next episode. The dead arrive, and I'm like, okay, it's happening next episode. So I was nervous, I was excited, and I was kind of disappointed. But it's not disappointing where I'm like, oh, this episode was bad. I don't think this episode is bad. I just think it was easily the most overhyped episode of the show because it's one of the best fantasy battles I've ever seen, but it's also one of the most disappointing. I mean, if you have a dragon invading a city, yeah, a dragon fight, an army of the dead rolling over everything, you got fire, like all these characters, you get to just see them go off. I mean, Arya spinning her spear around, that was a cool scene. The eye patch guy, I mean, he's using his like flaming sword. Melisandre's using her magic, though. Daenerys flying on a dragon. I mean, Bran wargs. I don't even know why he warged. He's doing his own thing. I mean, it's like you just get everything in this battle, and some of it is awesome. Like I don't like the season very much, but some of the stuff in here is awesome. But it's way too dark. I don't know if they just didn't have the budget for the lights or something, but like it's so dark. So therefore, when you have your dragon battle happening, hang on, I'm gonna have to close some of my blinds. I'm gonna show you. Oh, yay! Can I get to see my messy room? Yeah, it's basically like you see this happening all the time. It's like you can barely see it. Like, can't even see it. And it's like absolutely ridiculous. And let there be light. So yeah, I mean, like, it was just way too dark. And the thing that frustrated me about that is that we've had 2 battles in the dark. I mean, we've of course had quite a bit of battles, but we've had Blackwater and Watchers on the Wall. Those are probably 2 of my favorite episodes of the show because it's a properly set up battle throughout the show, and they basically spend the entire episode in the battle, and it's in the dark, but you can at least see what's happening. You can barely see what's happening, and I'm like, really, like that's no, does not work. So. But just I don't think it's a bad episode. I did get into it, and then also it kept cutting away from characters where like I felt like there were a couple moments where Brienne got tackled by the dead, and I was like, oh no, my Brienne's gonna die, and the very next scene she's like up, and I'm like, oh you're fine, like, and then also the White Walkers I thought were really, really terribly wasted. And where all they do is they walk into Winterfell, go to the tree, go to where Bran's at. Of course, they kill everyone around them, including Theon, who magically shows up in Winterfell in the next episode. Because yeah, that's what this show is like now. Everyone just teleports everywhere now, or at least that's what I like to call it. And of course, you have this weird staring match with Bran and the Night King, where they're both like, so yeah. And I kind of wish you got to see the Night King kind of duel someone out. I mean, like maybe Jon Snow. I mean, you already saw Jon Snow fight a White Walker in Hardhome, so that would have been pretty cool to see Jon Snow fight the Night King. I mean, I'm not saying Jon Snow should kill the Night King. I'm not saying the Night King should kill Jon. I really hope the Night King doesn't kill Jon. But it's like show them fight a little bit. I mean, like why not? And then, oh, and the last thing that kind of frustrated me, Melisandre and Arya kind of come out of nowhere. I mean, okay, before we get to Arya, um, the final before the battle's about to start, Melisandre walks apparently in the direction from the White Walkers are coming. Like, White Walkers are here. Our army's here. She comes, shows up there, and everyone's like, oh, okay. You're here. Okay. No one does anything. Like it. Okay. I'm like, where did you come from? Like, maybe show up in the previous episode, be like, hey, Davos, I know you're not very upset at me. I'm here to help. I'm gonna be dead before the dawn. Like I don't know, something. And most of episode 2 show is in the dark. Just have her show up, right? Just have her show up. Just I don't know. Just like right before the battle, the dead are over here. She comes in the same direction, and then Arya. I mean, of course, Arya. Eye patch guy dies for her. Melisandre says, "Hey, it's gonna be you that's gonna kill the walkers," or basically foreshadows it. And after the Night King has kind of gone through all of the all the people surrounding Bran. I forgot his name for a minute. Kills everyone, kills Theon, and okay, well, if you told me I was gonna be sad about Theon after season 2, I would have said you're crazy. You're nuts. I'm not gonna be sad for him. I'm gonna be happy for him. And then seasons 3, 4, and 5 happened, and he met Ramsay, and yeah, it got bad real quick. And so then, of course, last time Theon and Bran met, Theon kind of killed him. But the fact that Bran looks at him and says, "You're a good man, Theon," because ultimately, Theon's never been an evil guy. Theon hasn't been someone that's like, "Oh, I'm gonna kill these orphans just because." I mean, he did kind of do that, but like everything he's been doing, he's been wanting to do it for his father, and man, it just got blown up in his face. So ultimately, he is a good guy at heart. He's done some bad things, but he's had a good reason for them, though. And he's nowhere near been the worst person in the show. So, yeah, he runs in, tries to kill the Night King. Night King breaks his staff, stabs him. And so, yeah, you have your Night King Bran staring match. Don't know why. And the place is surrounded by the dead and the walkers. And it took me a little minute. It took me a little bit to kind of figure this out. But when the Night King, Night King feel Arya coming, grabs her, looks like she's gonna die. She drops her knife, she grabs it, and she stabs the Night King and kills him. I mean, that was definitely like oh yes, Arya's coming in. Oh no, she's gonna die. Oh, she just killed the Night King. And I mean, the battle did kind of end. Be like, oh, I guess that's it. And like as like the walkers and like all the dead are just like falling apart, I was like, wait a minute. I'm like, where did Arya come from? The place is surrounded by the dead and the walkers. Does she just go do 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 do? Yeah, it's like they don't do anything. I mean, did she turn into Batman all of a sudden and be like, oh, what's that Dark Knight line where it's like the shadows are my, I don't know, shadows are my friend. Where it's basically like he can go into the dark, and it's basically like he can go into the dark, and yeah, and they can't see him. But it's like, okay, all right, whatever. And of course, a lot of people die. Joron dies, and I've liked Joron, and of course, Daenerys kind of crying over him. That was very sad. And one last thing, this should have been probably the finale of the season. Not the finale of the show, but the finale for season 7 or maybe season 8, and we spend it season 9 trying to go after the throne, taking out Cersei. I like something like that. I don't know. Because and I think you can do it. I think you can do it in a way where you're like, okay, and we're like, okay, maybe season 8's the end, and then it's like, okay, here we go. The Night King's coming on the final episode. Be like, is everyone gonna die? And then when Arya kills the Night King, it's like, oh, okay, there's gonna be one more season. They just haven't said anything yet. And then shortly after, be like, hey, guess what? Season 9. This is the battle for the throne. This is the final game. They don't do that. They just have to cram everything in one episode. So yeah, this is a very frustrating episode because there are some things I like about it, and then there are some things that I'm like, it's too dark. Some characters come out of nowhere, and everyone's just totally cool about someone just showing up randomly and maybe like, hey, guess what? I'm here to help, even though one of your guys here wants me dead. And now we go into the last half of season 8, and this is where the season, to me, really just started getting ridiculous. Where, I mean, Jon Snow basically has 2 lines the entire season. I'm sure he was reading his script and going, this isn't too difficult to learn. He basically says, I don't want it, and Daenerys is our queen. Yeah. And like the Daenerys Jon Snow drama is, I just think it's just absolutely ridiculous because if Jon is the rightful heir to the throne, I'm like, okay, can't he just go, hey, oh, okay, fine, you think I'm king? I don't want to be king. Daenerys, you want to be queen? Cool. Sit on the Iron Throne. I go back to Winterfell's King North. Drinks on me. That probably not how it would have gone, but honestly, if Daenerys went mad because Jon Snow was trying to take the throne because he's like, hey, I want it though, that I think would have made a little. Actually, it still wouldn't have made a lot of sense, but it would have made a lot more sense than what they did. And so because Jon's the true heir to the throne, Jon tells his actually not his sisters, his cousins. And that is probably one of the worst kept secrets in Game of Thrones. Sansa tells Tyrion. Tyrion tells Varys. And all of a sudden, Varys is like, oh, I don't know about Daenerys now. Like, and yeah. Oh, and Jon doesn't pet his dog when he leaves. I mean, so yeah. He pets him in the finale, though, which is nice. And so and so when they're trying to fly back to Westeros, Euron and his entire fleet shoot down her dragon, one of her dragons that was injured in the battle. Dragon dies, and eventually they retreat. They eventually retreat. And this is another one of those like magically transports everywhere, and so then at one point, and so then right after the dragons leave, Euron decides to shoot the boats, destroy some of the boats. Most of everyone gets away. Grey Worm, Varys, Tyrion. Yeah, that's about it. But not Missandei. Missandei gets captured by Euron. I don't know how they got her. And so then when Daenerys comes by to try to bargain for her life, Cersei, being the big old bitch that she is, orders the mountain to kill her in front of them. Missandei deserved better. Like, she was a character. I mean, obviously, no one is safe in this show, but it's like, come on, like, you foreshadow this relationship with her and Grey Worm. Like that's a nice way to end it. If you're like, okay, here we go. They get to have a happy ending at the end. So they don't, and you can tell Daenerys is not quite happy about that. And it's not her not being happy that frustrates me. Her being upset that Cersei's not being reasonable, that makes sense. I get upset by Cersei because she's not reasonable. It's what happens in the next episode. And one more final thing before we go to episode 5. I see on here I have Jaime's character development. Thrown away. Gone. So at the beginning of the episode, I mean, they're celebrating. Because they won. And Jaime and Brienne, I was kind of rooting for his name. It would have been kind of nice if Tormund and Brienne got together because, he was definitely being a little weird around her. Probably a little too weird, though. But it was at least, like, kind of funny, though. He gets over her pretty quickly, though, and Jaime and Brienne get together. And then when Jaime finds out that that they've arrived in King's Landing, and he ditches Brienne and just says, basically says, fuck my character arc, fuck my character development, I'm going back to Cersei. Oh, that... No. That to me was just a massive throw his arc into the garbage. Because, just as I said about season 7, he's been doing so much for her. In season 5, rescues their daughter. He takes River Run because their son says so. He's been doing everything for her. But then when he finally sees that she's unreasonable, finally sees that she's just this pure evil woman, he goes, screw this, I'm gone. To me, that was one of the best moments of season 7. It's like he finally stands up to her, finally says, no, I'm not doing this for you anymore. I've been doing stuff for you for way too long. We've been banging each other for a while. Very gross. Of course, he still loves her, though, but they are sisters, so he basically is just like, yep, I'm gone. That didn't like that. And then you have episode 5, The Bells. Oh boy. I might rant about this episode for a while. This episode just frustrated me so much. Right off the bat, Daenerys takes Varys and she burns him alive. And his death to me his death just makes absolutely no sense. Because she's like, okay. Because she's like, okay, Jon Snow, you betrayed me. Jon, you told Sansa. Sansa told Tyrion. Tyrion told Varys. Hey, Varys, we're gonna kill you now. Tyrion's even gonna admit, oh yeah, it was me. I told him, and we're gonna kill Varys because of it. But yeah, just like not Tyrion. Like we're not gonna get Jon Snow in trouble. We're not gonna be like eventually like, oh yeah, we're gonna kill everyone now. So just. I just don't get it. And then plus like Varys like being like, ooh, I don't know about her now because like Jon's the true heir. Jon Snow keeps saying like, I don't want the throne, and I'm like, because he's the rightful heir, can't he just go, okay, well, I guess I could just be king for like 2 seconds and say, hey, guess what? Or be like, hey, let's rule together. We're technically family. Actually, we are family. No, just the drama was just ridiculous. And I was just getting so annoyed by it, where I'm like, oh my gosh, like this could be fixed by basically going, hey, let's rule together, or saying, hey, because I'm the heir, you are the one who gets to rule. But because of that, we just have to kill a whole bunch of people in the process. Also, King's Landing looks a little different. I don't remember there being like a desert in front of it, but sure, why not? And so then the battle starts. Actually, right before Jaime gets to King's Landing, he's going to try to ring the bells, because once they ring the bells, that means they surrender. And then also he's trying to get back to Cersei. But then meanwhile, Arya and the Hound are also there. Arya wants to kill Cersei. The Hound wants to kill on the Mountain, his brother, who burned his face. That, to me, the bells should have been split into 2 episodes. Your first episode basically goes like, okay, here we go. Everyone's going to come here. And then you have the entire bells episode, where you basically have the entire battle go down and like everyone shows up and everything happens. That is how you properly do a season. And this just said, screw it. We don't need to do that. But, yeah. So Daenerys comes in, and apparently Euron doesn't know how to shoot dragons now, because I'm going to say roughly they probably had about like 50 some like arrows. They kill one dragon with 3 shots, and now all of a sudden he's like, all right, shoot a couple of them. Oh, they missed. And I don't know why they did that. I think because the fact that we want Daenerys to win, but like it. But I just remember watching and be like, okay, I guess he doesn't know how to shoot dragons now. And it's like he's got like so many of them. Like I'm like, fire all at once. Okay, I'm sure not all of yours are gonna hit directly, but if you miss, you poof right into the water. Who cares? Like. You accidentally killed Daenerys. I think they're pretty. I think they're pretty content with that. You killed Drogon, even better. You probably killed Daenerys in the process too. Nope. Yeah. Arya just wait, I'm sorry, not Arya. Daenerys just burns through everything. Apparently goes through the back door, and no one hears it. Breaks through the front gates. Kills most of the soldiers, and yeah, the Unsullied. Basically, all of Daenerys' people, all that's left, come through, and the soldiers right away, they surrender. The bells ring. I don't know if that was Jaime or if it was someone else, but all of a sudden, like Daenerys just starts getting just very frustrated, and for a moment, I was like, oh, I wonder if she's just gonna kill Cersei. And while all of this is going on, Cersei's in her tower, which she's basically been there for basically the entire season. And she's basically like, okay, my men are going to fight to the death. Well, they basically surrender shortly after she says it. She doesn't know, so she's not very happy. And if Daenerys just went, okay, boom, just blew it up, burned her inside, I would have been pretty happy with that. I would not have been too upset about that. I mean, I think it would have been like, oh, I did really want her to suffer for a while, but it's like, no, that'd be pretty awesome. I mean, if she's upset because she's like, man, I really don't like you. You're so unreasonable. Okay, fine. You kill a couple civilians in the process. Okay, fine. Instead, what she does is she just starts burning King's Landing. Like, is this because she lost Missandei? Like, I'm like, it just made absolutely no sense to me. Where I'm like, where is this coming from? I don't get it. I mean, okay, if she's upset about Missandei's death, okay, fine. Does she have to kill everyone in the process to do that? I don't know. I mean, where actually 2 things. One, okay, I just forgot the one. Wow. Yeah. Okay, well, 2. Oh, wait, I just remember the one. 1, gotta be shitting me. I remember now. It took me a little bit. We dedicated an entire season of Daenerys being showing what kind of a queen she was going to be. Season 4, she shows that she wants her people to be happy. She wants the support of her people. She wants to treat her people well. She even locked her children up. Like, the people, like, well, they're not people. Her dragons that she calls children. She locked them up for her people. She even told Tyrion, I'm going to break the wheel. The reason why she said that is she was like, I'm tired of seeing all these big name houses crushing everyone at the bottom. Like, taking out everyone, like Lannister, Stark, Tyrell, Baratheon, Targaryen. She's like, I am tired of them just the top houses get everything and the people at the bottom get nothing. So she's like, I want to break that wheel. And she's like, I want to be in support of Nate. She's like, I want to support my people. And right away you go, okay, she's going to be a good queen because she's going to be supporting her people. Cersei doesn't care about her people. But instead what happens, like, I don't even know why they did it. Daenerys just burns through all the people. So, and then the very next episode, she's like, I'm breaking the wheel. It's like, how? Let's burn through she basically puts herself on top of the wheel and kills everyone below. Like, just, I don't know. And I got 3 theories on why they did it. I'll get into that in a little bit. But then another thing, Daenerys has lost a lot of people in her life. She lost Khal Drogo. She lost her actual child. She lost her knight, Ser Barristan. She felt betrayed by Joron in season 4, and he keeps trying to come back to her, and I think she's getting a little frustrated with that. She ultimately loses Joron early in the season. She's lost 2 dragons. She's never at once been like, oh man, I want to kill everybody now. Okay, so now you want to kill everybody because Missandei died? Like, I mean, I'm not saying she didn't like Missandei, but like, but I'm like, you lose your husband, you've lost 3 children. You lose your friend, if you're betrayed by your friend, you lose your knight, and yet you've never been like, I want to kill everyone because I'm super angry now because of it. So I was like, I don't buy it. I don't buy it, and I have 3 theories why they did it. Number 1, I don't know, maybe they don't like Emilia Clarke. I don't know. How do you not like Emilia Clarke? Like, I don't know. Number 2, maybe they somehow, I don't even know what they're watching. Maybe they're somehow watching something different than I did or the fans, and be like, you know what? I see some Mad King in her. I think she's one day going to turn to Mad Queen Daenerys. That's a great idea. Or number 3, they're like, you know what would be cool is if a dragon burns through the whole city. And like, that's a great idea. Production-wise, it looks pretty good. Story-wise, makes no sense. So, yeah. So she kills everyone. Just burns through everyone. And this is one of those scenes that really just went too far. Because I'm like, oh, this isn't pleasant. I don't want to watch this. But, I guess. And then, apparently Euron survived the ships. And Jaime ends up killing him. And that was, this is another scene that I was not too bothered by. Because, I mean, Euron's a character that I haven't liked him very much. He's a bit of a psychopath. And I kind of called it out back in season 7 where I was watching it. I mean, he's like, I want to bang the queen, and I don't think he knows about their relationship. And so right away I was like, I feel like Jaime's gonna kill Euron. So basically when they finally see each other together on the shore, and he's like, yeah, I fucked the queen. I'm like, Euron's gonna die. And of course, you got to have the twist where you have Jaime get stabbed a couple times. Ultimately, Jaime kills him. And so at one point, Kyber eventually gets the idea to be like, hey, Cersei, we got to go. And you get the Hound versus the Mountain. Now, this was pretty awesome. Except for the thing. No, that is not awesome. I don't know why you would recreate that. So yeah, the Mountain clearly just wants to kill. Oh, I'm sorry. The Mountain clearly wants to kill the Hound because when Kyber tries to stop him, just he smashes his head in. It's like, oh snap. So yeah, Cersei gets away scot free. Just okay, fine, whatever. And you get the fight. Of course, you get the helmet reveal. He looks pretty ugly. He looks terrible. And at one time, the Hound stabs him. Doesn't do anything. And I think right away you can be like, oh, both of them are gonna die. And at one time, the Mountain tries to do the Mountain and the Viper on him. Not a good, no, not a good scene. But he ends up the Mountain. I'm sorry, the Hound stabs him through his head. Like knife comes out the back. Doesn't even do anything. So I don't know what Kyber did. It was bad. And then Mountain dies by the one thing he's afraid of. Tackles the Mountain out of the tower and into the fire. And so yeah, I mean the Hound is obviously dead, and the Mountain better be. That's all I'm saying. That doesn't kill him. I don't know what else would. And then you get your final little scene, and where you have Jaime and Cersei die in each other's arms. I really wish Jaime didn't die. He's been one of my favorite characters for the past couple seasons, and that kind of frustrated me. I was like, oh man, I'm like I liked him, like he had one of the best character arcs of the entire show, and they just kind of threw it away. And then for Cersei, her death is so underwhelming. I mean, I'm happy she died, but I kind of wanted to see her suffer. And I will say this. I was a little concerned they were gonna do this though, and this is definitely gonna be something that would make me mad. I mean, this was before I watched season 8. Is when they were like Cersei's pregnant. Cersei does love her children. They have said it's her one redeeming quality, and that's being made very obvious throughout the show. So when she finally realizes, oh no, we're stuck here, we're gonna die, she starts crying for a child. And it's a little hard to root. I'm sorry, it's a little hard to hate on a child that's unborn. And so they kill her, and they ultimately do like this, like, you kind of feel bad for Cersei kind of thing. And that was something I was kind of worried about. I'm like, oh, that's no, I don't like that they did that. I'm like, I kind of wanted to see her suffer, but I mean, she didn't. So like, yeah, that, and then she just dies because some rocks fall on her. Most hated character in the show for so many seasons. I mean, yes, there's been Joffrey, there's been Ramsay, there's been other hated people. She's been around since episode 1. She's been pulling the strings of everything. She puts Joffrey on the throne. She ends up getting her other son killed. I mean, she's been the worst for the past couple seasons, and she just gets this quick death. No, I don't. I was very, very disappointed. Very underwhelmed. And I also don't buy that Cersei's pregnant. I mean, and we're just, I said, she does love her children, so like that's a little hard to like give Cersei like this like horrible death, but then also be like, yeah, we're giving this pregnant woman this terrible death. Like that right there does not sit well with me. And I think I said this in season 7, where I'm like, since season 7's where everyone started teleporting everywhere, and I was like, if you want to show a passage of time, show her being pregnant, like because I'm no genius. When a woman gets pregnant, their stomach expands. It can get kind of big. Like maybe show it get a little bigger in season 7, then season 8 being like, oh, guess what? You have a baby boy, you have a baby girl, and then by the time everyone comes, be like, oh, the baby's a couple months old, like something like that. So then therefore you don't have to be like, oh, therefore then you don't have to be like, oh, we feel bad for Cersei because she's crying for a child. I mean, even if she's telling, even if she's telling your kid like, "Oh, run, get out of here," though, you can still give her the painful death she deserves. But and and then you want to kill the kid. I mean, well, you've killed many kids before. Like, I don't know. So yeah, did not like the way they did that. So me, I don't buy that Cersei's pregnant. Like, I don't. You need to show a passage of time, or maybe, yeah, or maybe all of a sudden women in Westeros are like, oh no, I don't look pregnant at all. Oh, all of a sudden I'm giving birth. I'm getting to labor. My water broke. That doesn't make sense. So yeah, I told you I would rant about this for a while. There's a lot of things that frustrated me. So go ahead. And then we get into our final episode, the episode that I really felt like just flipped off everybody. And I spelled Daenerys wrong. So Daenerys wins, and actually right away, I was like, this episode is like an hour. This episode is over an hour long. All of our villains are dead. Your four main villains: Cersei, the Mountain, Kyber, and then Euron. I keep getting the Mountain and the Hound confused. All four are dead. They all died last episode. What is this episode going to do? Well, Daenerys takes the throne. Well, doesn't exactly take the throne. Basically takes over Westeros after killing everybody. Basically, everyone's dead. And yeah, apparently she wants to kill everybody now. She's like, hey, let's break the wheel. Let's create peace everywhere. She's turned into Ultron all of a sudden, I guess. And so Tyrion quits being Hand of the King because he's like, yeah, I'm not dealing with this anymore. And so he quits, and she locks him up. And I actually thought Tyrion was gonna die. Like, I thought she was gonna kind of kill him right away. And so Jon visits Tyrion, and Tyrion says, hey, she's gonna kill everybody. She's coming for your family. You have to make a choice. Are you gonna choose the woman that you love, or basically the entire world? Jon goes to visit Daenerys in the throne room. Daenerys touches the throne, but unfortunately never gets to sit on it because of course Jon goes to her and he's like, hey, what the heck was that? What are you doing? And I was like, okay, I'm like, how are you gonna explain this? And her reasoning just doesn't make sense. So she's like, I'm creating peace, I'm creating a better world. Like I'm breaking the wheel, even though I just don't even know what breaking the wheel is anymore because that's not what I said. And just okay. So and so it looks like Jon chooses his queen. They start kissing, but then he ultimately stabs her, and Daenerys dies in his arms. And I think the worst part about this is that I wasn't even sad about it. I was like, okay, yeah, you kind of deserve that. I mean, you killed thousands of people, and you're like, I want to kill everyone else now. So I think the worst part about it is that I'm like, I just didn't even feel sad. Like I'm like, yeah, you deserve that. If I found out that Daenerys was gonna die sometime, I would have been like, oh my gosh, I would have been heartbroken. Like, she's one of my favorite characters. She's probably the character I wanted on the throne besides Jon. But I did make one prediction that was correct, that Jon wasn't going to get the throne, because I said in my Season 7 review, where I'm like, okay, finding out that he's Aegon Targaryen, I'm like, hey, I want Jon on the throne, but I'm like, but I do not think he's going to get it, because I've heard this season doesn't end well, and I'm like, if he does get the throne, why would people be upset about that? So basically, Daenerys dies, never sits on the throne. Although that part is kind of sad, though, whether she goes mad or not. Drogon flies in. Then, of course, he kind of nudges her a bit. Kind of like oh, mommy, get up. And Drogon, very upset, looks at Jon, kind of figures out, oh, he did it. And apparently burns the throne and destroys it. And flies away with Daenerys. I'm not sure why he didn't kill Jon Snow there. I mean, I it's not that I wanted Jon Snow to die there. It's just that it was like, that doesn't make a lot of sense. Like, I mean, something that I was a little frustrated about, like for the past couple seasons, actually, basically season 7, is Cersei's wanted Tyrion dead for a while, and when she finally has her chance, she doesn't do it. To me, that just doesn't seem right. So, yeah. And then I also feel like Drogon destroying the throne kind of ruins a great line earlier in the show where Cersei says to Ned Stark way back in season 1, when you play the Game of Thrones, you win or you die. There is no in between. Well, it's a little hard to win if there is no throne. Yeah. He burns the throne, flies away. And now this is something that I didn't mind very much, is that when everyone assembles, or basically all the surviving characters, all the great houses, Tyrion's beard is longer. You see a bit of passage of time. You don't need to have everyone be like, okay, here we go, let's walk. Okay. And also, apparently, they convinced Sansa to come back. I don't know why Sansa would want to come back to King's Landing. There's also apparently someone from Dorne. I don't even know who. I felt like everyone from Dorne died, but I mean, whatever. I also don't even know what. I also think they forgot about some of the other mortals that they left in the dungeon. I mean, the daughter's dead, but the mother is still alive. So, but I guess we just don't want her on the throne. She doesn't even get acknowledged, so whatever. And so now they're basically like, okay, well, let's elect a new king. And Grey Worm doesn't want Tyrion to say anything, but Tyrion basically takes over everything and elects Bran the Broken as king. But the way he says it, who has a better story than Bran the Broken? Literally everybody else has a better story than Bran the Broken. And he looks at him and he goes, why do you think I came all this way? Bran the Broken! What? And he elects Tyrion as Hand of the King. But the stupidest part is, I didn't even know Bran was in the game. Yeah, he was in the show. He was walking. Like, he's walking, doing his own thing. Doesn't even find out basically everything going on in the show until basically the last couple seasons when he becomes a three-eyed raven. He goes, oh, here we go. Okay, figuring out everything. All right, cool. Just watch the quick little recap, finding out everything that's going on. And so your king in your hand don't even want to be the king in the hand. Like, that's basically how much they're like, yeah, we just don't care anymore. Like, that, I was like, all right, you gotta be kidding. Like, to me, that was like the writers going, yeah, we just don't care anymore. Yeah, fuck this, fuck everything. And I'm like, and like, everyone roots for it. I mean, I'm watching it and I'm going, well, I don't want you as king, but you know what? They don't care anymore, so why should I? Like, and so yeah, basically Aegon Targaryen, who, yeah, throw that away. And I think the worst part about this is, to me, is that the show is called Game of Thrones. It's all been about who's going to get the throne at the end, because all these storylines, some of these kingdoms are all trying to come for the throne. But since they destroy the throne, no one sits on thrones, so therefore no one wins the great game. But since Bran is paralyzed, his chair is basically his throne. So basically, no one wins the Game of Thrones. But ultimately, Bran does. Bran, I think, is the one person we did not want to win it. But I'm like, you know what? It's better him than Cersei. So, I guess. And so what are they going to do with Jon Snow? Well, the Starks, Sansa wants him alive. Grey Worm wants him dead. They make a nice deal to basically send him back to the Night's Watch. And what's really stupid about this is that I'm not sure if the Night King destroyed Castle Black or Eastwatch, or like, Oh, he destroyed something, so why the hell are they going to Castle Black when you have this big gap in the wall? It's like, oh, here we go, we're gonna guard this area right here. Oh no, this area right here is not guarded at all. And second of all, what are they guarding? They have peace with the wildlings. The walkers are dead. What are they? Are they basically just gonna be like kicking back and going, ah? Ugh. So, I don't know. And it's like that. It just made absolutely. It just did not make any sense. And I don't know if they started teasing some spin-off shows, but like Arya goes west for some reason. She's like, I want to find out what's west of Westeros. Okay. Jon's leading the wildlings over the wall. Okay. Bran is king. We do have our little council where we have Davos, Brienne, Braun, and Sam, and one of Braun is named Master of Coin. He's probably the worst person to make Master of Coin. And right away he's like, hey, I want to make Highgarden like a brothel. Okay, and like that's all he's concerned about. Like I'm like, this man only cares about one thing. Actually, two things: himself and money and women. That's three things. Why in the world are you making him Master of Coin? Just ugh. So yeah, that's how they end it. And after I was done, I was like, oh, well, I understand what the hate is now. Not, I definitely understand the hate. I was not very pleased with the final season. So coming up, you're gonna get some ranking videos coming up. As you can tell, I'm still pretty upset, but I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I got the video under an hour. That was nice, but yeah. So I don't know. I feel like they just tried to go with the same Game of Thrones themed ending, the dark twist at the end, but just yeah. I was pretty disappointed. Sometime I will watch House of the Dragon, though I do want to watch it. I have heard it is pretty good, but I'm very upset about the way the season ended, so I'm not in the right like mood to watch it right now. So I'm like, I'll watch it eventually. I don't think I'm gonna do a review, though. I mean, maybe I'll cover season 2 a bit because I do know there's gonna be a season 2. Because season 2 will be the very first time I will be able to watch through a Westeros show, basically by waiting, just as all you fans are. So yeah, hopefully House of the Dragon ends well, because this did not. So I haven't read the books. I am planning on reading the books because I hope George R. R. Martin finishes the books, because I'm like, please destroy whatever the crap this was, because it was not good. So yeah, I do have a couple other Game of Thrones videos coming up. I do have a best games of the year for the NFL season coming up, and I'll see you guys next time. Pretty heartbroken right now, but I'll get over it. So yeah, you can follow me on Facebook, MattheWleininger, and hope you guys like, comment, and subscribe. You can just share all your disappointments down the comment section, and I wouldn't blame you. So I'll see you guys next time. Bye.